Welcome to the Backpacking and Blisters podcast. We've got a true crime episode, The Backpacking Heist. With me today is interim host Ben McAuliffe. How's it going, my friend?
It's going good. Look at interim. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. New
Not that it matters from guests, but yeah, it's exciting.
All right. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to just go completely off the grid?
Yeah, I have. And I did it. I tried it once at work.
Why?
Because I got mad at my team members and everyone and all my coworkers, and I was looking up how much an island costs. And I don't know if I was going to bring my family at that point because I was like, I'm done with the world. I'm done with everybody. Let's see how much an island costs.
How much does it cost?
Never happened. 1.2 million is the one I was looking at, but you can get cheaper ones. But just the logistics for building and trying to transport all the lumber, and it just was too much work. I'm not the Robinson Crusoe type, so it fizzled pretty quick. But yeah,
can't you just bring backpacking gear?
You could, but it only lasts so long. I wanted to live in style, Carl. You know, you can't just. Okay. So would you live on an island, Carl, then? Or would you think of living somewhere more private or Arctic?
I mean, island's not private. Yeah, I would. I'd visit an island, but I definitely get island fever. I like to travel, move around a lot. So that's not for me. Going off grid or just going into hiding is not it sounds interesting and maybe even romantic, but it's not logistically good. Strangely, I think a lot of people, when they want to go into hiding and they have to they want to go truly off the grid, not rely on any sort of system. I've heard that one of the hardest things to deal with is trash. What do you do with all the trash you're creating?
Oh yeah. So, that would, I'd spit I'd just, spit it out and all that, but I guess people notice it. So
spit it out.
The gum. Yeah. I don't eat the trash. I'm talking about my gum, which I don't do anymore. I don't spit it on the trail, but yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. So we've got a true crime story, The Backpacking Heist. And I bet a lot of you folks out there have watched true crime stuff. You've watched, the 2020s, or you've watched the Datelines, or you've listened to some true crime podcasts. This is not like any of those. This is a true crime like you've never heard it before. And it's on the lighter side for sure. It's definitely family friendly. So
definitely like you've never heard it before. Let's emphasize that.
Yeah. And coming up after that, this is our last episode before Ben and I go on our first backpacking trip together, part of our Patreon trip. We've got some trip predictions that we're going to see, what we think is going to happen, and will it or will it not come true? Do you have some good predictions for this episode?
I do. Okay. I'm ready.
I'm looking forward to those. All right. Bible verse of the episode, 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. Ben, are you a thief?
No. I didn't think you were going to go with that question.
We're talking about crime.
I know, but I thought it was going to be do you love money? Like most people would, but instead you're just are you a thief? Well, no, Carl, I'm not. Are you a thief?
Yeah, I was. Not anymore. Yeah. But as a kid, I stole stuff. I'm not proud of it. I don't know what my issue was there, but I didn't have, my moral compass was definitely not focused towards Jesus. And I think, I don't know what turned. It must have been when I was invited by my good buddy Rocky to go to Bible study. But I was not making good life decisions for sure.
Were you from stores, or were you going to I picture you more going to people's houses thinking about backpacking and oh man, this would be really nice down the backpacking trip, and just taking silverware.
The weight of this shame upon me in this episode is now going to be compounded by well, tell us specifically what you stole and where you stole from.
Did you write a letter? Maybe it's time to write a letter to that store, or aunt or uncle, and apologizing.
Probably true. That's funny. So I think thankfully the tides turned early enough on before anything bad happened. But so I don't, and for me, it wasn't the love of money or anything. I don't know what the issue was, because I don't struggle with greed specifically. And I don't know if the guy that we're going to talk about today struggles with greed, but you guess to some extent if there's a pretty major heist involved here. So we're going to find out, right?
Yeah, maybe he just had enough with the world. I was looking at islands, but didn't have enough to buy one. So
you're saving up for the island, for a really good island.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go back and forth and kind of break down the story and just tell the story and react to every part of it and weigh in. So Ben, who's the guy we're talking about? Who's the guy that committed the crime, the backpacking heist?
Yes. So we're talking about James T. Hummus, I'm going to go with. Uh,
Okay.
he he worked for a company as an accountant. He lived in Lexington, Kentucky, but the
Right.
headquarters is in Cincinnati. So I think that
Okay.
plays into it too. So pretty big company.
Hmm.
And so that's who we're talking about.
Okay. So we don't know what company or even what kind of company. We just know that he was an accountant. So when you think of a major heist being pulled off, like coupled with a backpacking trip, do you think accountant?
I don't. I would think maybe someone with bushcraft skills or
He might have those.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would think. Like it'd probably be art. Maybe art thief. I would think backpacking, but accountant.
Wait,
I'm thinking. I'm
what?
still on that. Yeah. What?
Why an art thief of all
Well,
things?
because when you see the movies with art thieves, usually they're a little more quick. They're a little more have to get in, get out, and then disappear. So for me, and I don't know what movie I'm thinking of, Carl, but was
The
it
Thomas
maybe it's
Crown
that one with
Affair?
Ryan? No, I haven't seen that one. I
Okay.
think I'm The Rock and Ryan Reynolds on one of those, and he goes to an island. He's like an art thief, and then like
Okay.
disappears into that. But so yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's right or not, but
Is there really a
yeah.
movie with a Rock and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that right?
we watch so
Um,
I do say we watch stuff on VidAngel, so it takes out a lot of the stuff. So we
okay.
watch those and I would only watch it with that because there's a lot of language and stuff. But yeah, there is one,
Gotcha.
it's funny. It is funny.
Okay.
So,
To be honest, man, like you just hit the nail on the head with both actors that I just like refuse to watch. I'm not in on those guys. I know they're famous
wow.
and popular, so I know I'm in the minority on this, but they are not my favorite
Oh,
actors
Carl,
by any
82% of our
stretch.
listeners love
I
Ryan
know. I know.
Reynolds.
I
So
get it. I
you
get
just
that they're
got
popular.
rid of
I
them.
get
Yeah.
it. I get
But
that
it's
Ryan
okay because
Reynolds
only
literally plays the same
33%.
character
Yeah.
every single time. Mean,
He does.
sarcastic guy. I get it. I get that The Rock is in literally every single movie possible. I totally get it, but just not my style.
All right, it's okay. You just
All right.
alienated everybody. All right, if you're
I
still
probably did.
listening,
Okay. So here's what this guy did. What's his name again?
I forgot. I moved on to like you just
You
hating
pronounced it
everybody.
weird, which kind of threw me off a little bit. It's like
Well, I was
Hams
thinking
or Hum?
hummus. Huh? Well, because
Okay. We'll
you know
call
me,
him
I don't
Mr.
prep
Hummus.
with names. Yeah. Okay, Mr.
We'll call him
Hummus.
Mr. Hummus. All right.
All right, Mr.
So
Hummus.
he worked for this company as an accountant, and he ended up embezzling $8.6 million over an 11-year period. So he was essentially in charge of the accounting department, and so he was like, I don't know how you do this. I'm not an accountant, but he limited what people under him could see. So he kind of hid these accounts he had created. Specifically, there's like a phantom account with an existing vendor they had with their company, and then he would transfer money into that phantom account, and then from that account into his own personal account, which
Right.
seems really obvious to me. But he lasted 11 years, and I don't know if that was like an offshore account or something. I don't really even know how those work. But Ben, how would you hide $8.6 million?
I don't know. He was doing $100,000 at a time too, which is just that
Right,
blows my mind. Uh,
right,
so I guess for me, I would like my mattress. Like I would be nervous storing it into a bank because you gotta go
okay.
in and there's cameras. So I would have to hide it somewhere, and then even then I'd be nervous. People would like all of a sudden find it, and then like the whole like cops surrounding you and pointing like
Yeah.
flashlights at you, and you're like, "Yep, you got me. Here I am." So
Here's my
uh,
mattress.
yeah, I like I could. I'd have to be moving constantly because and then everyone behind you, you'd be terrified that they're watching you. So I don't even know how to hide money.
Yeah. I think
I
the
it
mattress is
would
a bad
yeah.
idea. I think your wife finds out. I think it's really if it's that much money, like you have to like cut holes into the mattress to fit it all in there,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's
And
not
if you
gonna work.
use a Sleep Number mattress, it's on air. And so
Right.
you'd have to get a lot of money right away so it gets your mattress back up to the firmness that you want.
Why is it so lumpy?
Just the
All right, I
coils,
actually
just
have
the
a solution
coils.
for this. So if you ever want
Okay.
to embezzle $8.6 million, I know how you do it. Okay,
Okay. I'm
just
taking
buy
notes.
a few Z Packs items. That's it. Just buy a few of them, and that'll cover the cost.
And then just keep the receipts so you can return them.
Like buy two
And keep
tents,
going.
and then you're good. Just kidding. All right. So that's a setup. So then
Is that is that why we're talking backpacking? Because he just spent all his money on gear?
Maybe that's he's like, I have the ultralightest of ultralight load to hike the trail. So, all right.
He was
So,
getting into
okay, so
ultralight. You make sense.
how does he sort of he doesn't get like caught at first, but he gets like, I don't know. He realizes that somebody's onto him. So what's that part of the story?
Yes. So the FBI interviewed him, asking him like, "What's going on with the money?" And he's just like, "I have no idea," and just kept denying it. And
Right.
so it was shortly after that that he disappeared.
Okay. Yeah, so he gets confronted at work by the FBI, right?
Correct. Yep. They
Okay.
sat him
So they
down. Maybe
must
they brought
not
him
have
to
had enough.
headquarters. Yeah.
Yeah, they must not have had enough on him at the time to prove that he was the culprit. They just were doing their investigation, I guess. They're like, "What's going on with all this money?"
Right.
And
And
then
he was probably the accountant, and so that he only had the like he was the one person that handled it and
right.
controls. So yeah.
So I think it's amazing that they could have checked his personal accounts. They could have figured out they could have tried to see, okay, well, obviously money's going somewhere, but they did so maybe it was like their initial I don't know how the FBI works, but initial part of their
Yeah.
investigation. And so he disappears. So I think he went home first and then he left, right? He went backpacking on the Appalachian Trail for years, right?
Yeah, like 6 or 7 years, and when the
Right.
FBI confiscated their computer, he actually searched for how to disappear, and that was the number
Right.
one that must have been the number one search, like, "Just go hiking." No one will ask
Yeah.
questions.
Do you
Like
think we should do this right now. Okay, look. So if I type in this is now I'm going to be like vulnerable to some weird searches here, but if I type in like how to disappear,
yeah,
will backpacking come up? What do you think? Like
I
the
don't
real
think it
question is
will.
how to go missing without a trace. And of course, it's like YouTube videos and nobody's really giving me answers here. It's all like Reddit and
It makes sense though, because, like, when you do it, it says, "What's the best way to go missing?" The key to
right,
disappearing is leave no trace. This means avoid any communication or contact with
right.
anyone. Don't use your phone, computer, social media accounts. So I think it's just basically he thought he probably didn't have the money. Maybe he didn't Google like how to do a fake passport or how to, just leave the country.
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
now you're talking to like
huh,
the underworld stuff, and that's some pretty dark stuff right there. And so I think that if you just go onto the trail, right, you don't have to worry about like
yeah.
passports and IDs and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I wouldn't know how to do all that. I would probably wouldn't even Google it. I'd be like, I don't even wanna trust the
How
people
to
on that.
Google it? You think like guys that do that illegally are just gonna come up? They're like, advertisement for number one guy who can create fake passports.
"Oh, this guy has a nice Yelp review."
Probably not. But yeah, I've never searched that, and honestly, it didn't produce a whole lot of like really
Yeah,
helpful information. And so he must have really done a deeper dive. Probably spent a little more
yeah.
time than I'm spending right now, to be honest. So anyway, so he decides I don't know what his experience was with backpacking, but he literally disappeared out of his life. He left his wife, he left his kids. At the time, he was 46 years old, so he was pretty well established at that point. And so he just takes off. He goes on the Appalachian Trail, and I assume he just kind of hikes back and forth. Ben, if you were to do something along those lines for whatever reason, what's that?
So for 6 years, you think he's just going from, like, point A to, like, Canada? Like, he's just,
Oh yeah,
"Alright, well, I'm gonna turn around and go do it again."
don't you think so?
No, there's no way you'd be I think you get comfortable. You find a
Where?
couple segments. Well, there's small towns along the way, and so you can hide in small towns, but there's no way I'm gonna be hiking the Appalachian Trail, like, once a year. I mean, and then turn around, like, you get to the
I
end of
think
it, and you turn
I
around, and you start
you keep
going?
moving, you're harder to get caught, man. Like you're not staying in
Right,
towns long enough for people to like get used to your look. And when
right.
if he gets posted, his face gets posted somewhere, he's on a TV or show or something like this
Yeah.
guy's missing. We're looking for him. Like people that know you are like, wait a second, what's this guy doing? Just randomly staying in our town for a couple months during the wintertime. Like that's kind of weird.
Oh, I hope this
So
guy's listening. I hope he's a backpacker, and so I hope he's
yeah,
listening to the podcast and he can let us know if how many
yeah. Let
times
us know.
he
Please,
hiked
please
the
reach
Appalachian
out.
Trail.
If you know this guy or if you are this guy, please reach out and let us know. Were you hiking the whole time or did you stay in towns for months? I actually don't really know the answer to that. I'm just thinking like that's what I would do is I would just keep moving if that were the case, right?
Well, you think, but I mean, after a while, the scenery gets boring, and you got to go somewhere else. You know,
Yeah, if you
so
choose the wrong trail, then what trail are you gonna choose?
which, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would choose the one that leads to a beach, and then build a boat. You know, spend 4 years building a boat and heading to Cuba or something. I don't know.
Okay. You're trying to like
Just hiking
replicate
the.
Shawshank Redemption. You're like adding Shawshank Redemption, even though you hadn't gone to jail yet, into a story where you're trying to escape somebody. This is really weird. Okay.
I have
But
never watched that movie. Okay,
yeah. You haven't seen that movie?
no, I have not. I'll add it to my list.
Now
You know, I only watched this.
we
Yeah, yeah.
both have said something about movies that have abandoned people. They're like, what, who are these guys?
I mean, I only watch Mission
You can't
Impossible
even
movies and Lord
avoid
of
the
the
movie.
Rings.
It's like
Everyone
on
knows.
every channel. I'm 24/7. Okay. All right. Tell us about life on the trail and like kind of give us the rundown of what happens next.
So, Carl, what we were just talking about, this guy did not go from point A to point B 500 times and go point B to point A 500 times. he he uh he actually got caught because he was in a town too long. Like, people got to know him, he got comfortable. People actually
Well,
pointed out that he did
I
not hear.
thought it was a fellow hiker that knew him. Not he was in a town.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it said that he hung around the town. I thought it said, because it said people liked him, but it's obvious by his actions he didn't care about anyone but himself. But I think that they meant more like because he disappeared. Um,
Mm,
but it was a guy on the trail recognized him because he recently watched American Greed and recognized this guy,
mm.
which I don't know if I would have recognized him, because there's a before and after picture, and this guy looks way different. The beard is more grizzly than mine. Um,
Okay, let me bring
and
it up. I'm going to
yeah.
show for those that are on YouTube. I'm going to show kind of the before and after picture here. Okay.
So I don't think I could maybe the glasses, but even the glasses change.
Yeah.
So
He's got different glasses. He's got a beard, different hairstyle. His hair is very long. Yeah, I
I don't
wouldn't
know if I would
recognize this guy
recognize him.
either.
And so so that's why I said he stayed in one spot, is because a guy was on the trail and actually met him, and his trail name was Bismarck, Mr. Hummus guy. His trail name was Bismarck, and the guy went home and was like, "Oh, I was backpacking with that guy," and so he alerted the FBI, and they caught him. So
Right.
I think he was in the same town, more or
When they
less.
got
'Cause I
him.
think I read another story. Yeah, I think I read another story that said that
Okay.
people in town recognized him and knew him as someone else, and he was super nice.
So a couple questions on that one. But so you're saying the
Yeah.
FBI didn't like strap on their backpacks to go hike the Appalachian Trail to go find him?
No, I don't know if they necessarily do that. Maybe they would. Like, that's
You
a
don't
big
think the
hike, though.
FBI can go backpacking? That's what you're saying.
No, I know they can go backpacking. I'm not gonna fall for that trap, Carl, and offend some FBI people. They are probably some of the best backpackers we know of.
Okay.
But maybe they don't do the whole trail. Maybe it's not like two guys are like, all right, we're gonna be back in 6 months for this assignment, and we're starting at the bottom, and we're just gonna keep hiking. I'm pretty sure they
It's
probably
a
had a starting point.
vacation adventure assignment. I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is what's confusing to me, is because he clearly does not look the same. He's grown the beard. He's grown out his hair. He's got different glasses. Like, his beard is bushy. Like, it's covering his face. You can't tell who the guy is. So the fact that this guy recognizes him from the show, I don't know. It surprised me. I wouldn't have recognized him.
I wouldn't have either. So maybe it was in person. Maybe like you get talking, and maybe he opened up like, "Oh yeah, I got some millions stored away." Haha. I don't know. Like,
Oh, maybe, yeah. Some people can't help themselves but
yeah,
share personal things about themselves. But you also said that
yeah.
he was very likable, but only cared about himself. Those two things don't seem to
Well,
go together.
yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. But I think that was from the trail guy that met him, and he goes, obviously he doesn't care about anyone but himself because he ran away from his wife and kids. So I think that's what they meant.
Okay.
But I think on the trail, maybe he was a
Okay.
little more friendly. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Do you think this is the thing? Do you think that there's people out there who doesn't have to be a heist, but have committed some sort of crime and are essentially escaping to the trail?
Well, that's really terrifying now. If we
I
we got our trip
I
coming
know.
up, Carl. Should I
Yeah.
ask? Is that maybe we should make that a punishment now? Is like, Carl, you have to ask everyone what crime they're escaping from on the trail.
But isn't it safer to hike on the trail with a fake ranger. That way, at least people think maybe you're law enforcement, and maybe they're gonna like
No,
keep
have
their
you seen
distance.
movies? Look, the Rangers are always the first ones to go.
Oh, we're not watching the same movies apparently, so I don't know what if you're watching like Ranger horror movies or whatever. But that's that's not what I see.
I was thinking of River
Uh,
Wild. You don't
okay.
just pick up strangers. Yeah, okay.
If you wanted to go into hiding and you're going to go on the trail, like this guy, he lasted for a while. He's like, on the trail for 6 years. How would you do it? What would you have done differently? What would you do?
I think this would be a hard one. I don't know if you know this about me, Carl, but I'm a pretty big extrovert. I like to talk to people. I like to get to know people.
Yeah.
Going into hiding and not being able to just talk, that would be hard. And so I think that's how I would get caught is I'd just be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And talking to people, and then eventually I'd miss my family and kids. I mean, not
Okay.
eventually, but almost right away. And so I'd probably be the guy like bushier beard outside, or maybe I'd be clean cut because I'm hiding. And I'm
Right.
just like binoculars trying to like see what my kids and family are up to. So
That's creepy.
eh,
Okay. Thanks for
and
that.
that's probably why I need to look for an island to go to. So it's like, a little bit harder to get transportation off the
Okay.
island and all that. But I don't know.
So not backpacking. Even though this is all about the backpacking heist, you're going to say you're not going to go
I,
backpacking.
I probably couldn't. I think it'd be. I mean, I'm too friendly. I'm too friendly. So
Okay, I mean,
yeah.
the scenario could be like this is before you got married, so now you're not
Okay.
attached, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But whatever, I get your
I
point. Okay,
even
for
even
me,
still even still I'd be talking to everybody. I'd find a town I like and be like, oh, this is really good cheese curds. I'm gonna sit here and just eat them every day. So yeah.
you and the cheese curds. All right. I
It's a
feel like you got to hike a trail with a variety of climate zones so that you can keep moving, first of all. So whether that's, like ending up in the south where it's warmer during the wintertime or whatever, you got to buy quality gear so you're not going into gear shops all the time. I would limit my time in towns. And then here's the key. I would change trails every year. So like it wasn't predictable where I was going.
but what would like so now you're spending money. And so I'm guessing
He
he
had
was
eight
able to
point two
get
million
money.
dollars. He's had plenty of
I know,
money.
but I mean, he had to get it. But you think at some point they probably froze those accounts, or maybe they were watching them and seeing because at some
Oh
point,
yeah.
yeah, like they're the gear he has to be going somewhere, right? Like, there's just so many
Don't you think he'd
questions.
have like a stash of cash somewhere where he could just like his go bag, grab and go, and he's just got like bundles of
He must
cash?
have. I mean, he must have. He must have. When he Googled how to disappear, it probably was like have a nest
Right.
egg with you at all times so you can
Well,
go.
cash only is like
Uh,
number
yeah,
one. Like you can't do
yeah,
credit cards because they can track you. All right, here's the question then. In his backpack, how much backpacking weight were stacks of cash?
right. Well, that's what my question was: is
Yeah.
what was his base weight and what was his
Right.
pack weight? I
Right.
mean, he had two packs. One was full of cash, and the other was a backpack. So
Would you consider cash part of the base weight since it's consumable? And would you consider it part of an essential or luxury item, Ben?
I think it's part of your base weight, but I think it's also.
Okay.
I think I don't even know. That's
Theoretically, you could be using the cash and the cash gets heavier because you're getting change, right? So you throw it on a hundred
oh
dollar
yeah.
bill, you get like 3 or 4 bills that you get coins. Like that could get heavier.
Right, and now you're making noise on the trail, and so everyone can hear you
Right.
coming. But maybe that's safe because now bears, bears, you're keeping the bears away because you got all the change jingling.
Okay, let's say that you roll into like some sort of group campsite area and you guys are like making food and somebody's pulling their camp stove out, but it's like buried under something, so they have to pull their other stuff out first, and it happens to be stacks of cash. How would you respond to that?
I I would be I think it's that watching the movies at that point you're just like, hey, we're going to keep walking, but now you're suspicious.
Right.
I'm more worried because what's going to happen is if this guy meets you on the trail, you're gonna be like, hey, I got a scale and I want to know what your base weight is and your pack weight. And you're, as we said, you like to go through people's packs and you're just gonna rip it all apart and wonder why he's carrying like $8.2 million of cash. So,
Which I don't think he had all 8.2 million because I don't think he could fit that in the backpack. But okay. Ben, do you have any other tips about like how to disappear and embezzle money? Anything else you got for this one?
yeah. So don't get caught, leave no trace.
Leave no trace. Okay. Brings a whole new meaning to that for sure. All right. So Ben, you got trivia for this one. What you got for trivia?
Yes. So I got heist trivia. I think you're
Heist
gonna
trivia
like it.
coming up
Yeah.
right after this. The trail is calling your name. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Our good friend Roan from Summit Strength can get you trail ready. Roan uses rock solid evidence to design a specialized training program just for you. There are plenty of cookie cutter programs out there that will get you only halfway up the mountain. Make it to your adventure summit with Summit Strength. The link to your success is always in our episode description, but you can check out all the information you need at summitstrength.com.au/online. It's time to be strong and pain-free for your next adventure. All right, so Heist Trivia is brought to us by Teton. If you're looking to go off the grid, you probably need quality gear. So check out the lineup from Teton. It's comfortable, dependable, and easy on the wallet, especially if you don't have that $8.2 million. If you're a newer or mid-level backpacker, avoid disaster and go to tetongear.com. All right, Ben, Heist Trivia, what you got?
All right. You ready for it?
Yeah.
All right. Question one.
Hey, what's on the line? This is our last trivia before our trip. What's on the line here?
Yeah. You have to get this. If you get this wrong, we have a tie, and then we got to figure it out. We probably got to take turns.
We both have to do the punishments. Is how that works.
Oh, okay. If we both have to do it, is there laundry soap so we can switch out, like wash the costume in between?
No, not that. No, I do the punishment. Oh. I gotta sleep in the bivy sack, and you got to do the ranger thing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought we're
not washing ranger outfits. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
All right.
Okay.
What weighs more? A pallet of dollar bills, 2 pallets of Mountain House, 2,665 Beanie Babies. Oh, I did the math on all these, just so you know.
This is an impossible question.
And 56,000 quarters.
Well, how would I know? I have no frame of reference.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, let's do this, Carl. Last trivia, you asked me questions I didn't know. Like
you got 3 for 3 on the last trivia.
Okay.
Mission Impossible trivia.
The one before that one, I got 0 for 3, and you were throwing me curveballs. Like, oh, you don't know how much an anvil weighs? Let me tell you something. It weighs anywhere from 75 to 500
more
pounds.
Than a pound. You knew that was true.
All right.
Okay. So pallet of dollar bills, which who knows how high that pallet stacked. What's the next one?
It's a standard pallet. The next one's 2 pallets of Mountain Houses, 2,665 Beanie Babies, or 56,000 quarters.
56,000 quarters. If I make that into dollars, does that equal weight too? Probably not.
No.
How many Beanie Babies was it again?
2,665 Beanie Babies. If you're listening instead of watching, you can literally see Carl trying to do math in his head right now.
Well, okay. So a quarter would weigh less than a Beanie Baby, right? And so there's about half as many Beanie Babies as quarters. So the Beanie Babies have to be heavier than quarters. It's not the Mountain House. It's between the dollar bills and the Beanie Babies. And so how many dollar bills are in a pallet? I guess is my question.
It's a standard. It's just a standard. I can tell from experience. A pallet's like half. Like a dollar bills, it's half. It's not as high as you think. It's weird, but yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll go with the Beanie Babies.
Oh, you got it wrong. It's actually a pallet of dollar bills. We're talking about heist, Carl. We're talking about heist, and so I always try to help you. And so if you would have thought about it and thought of heist, you would have got either the dollar bills. So a pallet of dollar bills weighs 1,500 pounds. 2 pallets of Mountain Houses, 1,280 roughly. And I almost expected you to ask me like, well, are they chicken curry? Are they this or this? And I forgot to pull up the website that actually had what was listed on each pallet. And then 2,665 Beanie Babies is 1,000 pounds. And the quarters actually weigh more than the Beanie Babies at 1,200 pounds. So
that's not right.
Yeah.
What? The Beanie Babies weigh more than 2 quarters. How many Beanie Babies? 28,000? 2,600.
2,665.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was 26,000. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. I got it wrong. Next one. What you got?
All right. If I say red light, green light, what am I referring to? Driving a car, the popular Simon Says game of the 90s, chewing gum, or the color of Tabasco sauce bottle?
Well, I think it's the game, but that was like in the 80s, not the 90s.
Oh,
there's
sorry.
also
okay, I can say it is.
Yeah, and then there's also the gum from the first Mission Impossible, but this is not the Mission Impossible episode, so I'll just go with the game.
Oh, it's actually the chewing gum. It's Carl. It's Heist.
What?
The Heist of the Nautilus. So you got it wrong. You
Heist
failed.
Wait a minute. The Heist of what?
Yeah. Mission Impossible. They stole the
Nautilus.
Okay. Don't you remember the famous scene? He's like, red light, green light, and throws the gun.
Yeah, I know. I literally just cited that, but I thought that was from last episode. So
I know. Okay. We had the same trivia for that. Yeah, you failed. Oh no. We'll have to talk about that. All right. This one I was excited for. And this is the one I was going to change an answer, but I left it. Who has the most stolen bases in Major League Baseball? Is it Ricky Henderson? Oh,
Ricky Henderson.
Ty Cobb, Ethan Hunt, or Elliott Taylor? And you went with Ricky Henderson. Wow, look at you! I didn't picture you for baseball knowledge. You knew that right away.
I did. Yeah, I used to be a baseball guy back in the day. Okay.
Oh, cool.
All right. I salvaged one, but yeah, so that means we both have to do these punishments, and we'll see how that goes. So
yeah.
Whew. All right. Cut me short.
You're so lost. You're so lost from losing right now.
I am a little lost. I know. Okay. All right. So we'll check back. We'll do a kind of a trip episode and see how things went. Ben and I've never been on a backpacking trip together, so it'll probably be chaotic, but definitely with these punishments, it'll be more chaotic, which will make it more fun. All right. So let's get to our tidbit section here. We haven't done this. I don't know if we've done this in a while. I don't think. Trip predictions. So, do you have any trip predictions? Like what's going to happen? What's going to go on this trip that's interesting, unexpected? What you got?
First of all, I think we'll become best friends, or we won't. We'll be total opposites. We'll be like, oh man, in real life we don't get along. So that was one of my predictions. We'll become best friends.
Like literal best friends. Like I will call you my BFF. Okay.
Yeah. I got bracelets made already, just so if it happens.
Oh my gosh, that's an interesting one. Yeah. After one trip, like that's a pretty fast transition to best friends.
No pressure, Carl. No pressure to like me.
Yeah. Like I'll say that most people that I've met through the podcast, where I have not, met them in person before, or whatever, and then we've gone on backpacking trips. This has happened a number of times now, especially with the Patreon group. I would say it's been overwhelmingly successful. Like overwhelming, the people that are connected to this show have been some of the best folks. We've been so blessed in that area. So I have high hopes as well.
Perfect. Sounds good. And if you're like, hey, Ben, you want to hang out after? I'll be like, yeah, I was kind of like thinking like forever, but it's okay.
Forever.
So, no pressure.
Even though we live in different states.
All right.
Which is true for most of my friends. All right.
Yeah.
Those are good true predictions. I like those. Mine are kind of negative compared to yours. So
I think I'm not going to like Ben. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's literally no, I said that Ben will have way too much food. Like you're going to have an overabundance of food.
And I will not change my, I won't change my pack based on that. So
okay,
we'll see what you think.
Yeah. So that was my first one. And then
does coffee, do you count like my coffee supplies as food?
No, just the food. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I got a lot of coffee stuff coming. Okay. Yeah.
The other one is, so we have this like crazy group text, and it's actually, I think, a relatively regular group text, but this is the first Patreon trip where we've added Ben, and Ben just made it crazy. So I'll give you an example. we went, before we started the group text, we had this emails going back and forth about bear canisters, who has extra bear canisters, this and that. And we sorted it all out. And then Ben starts the conversation again, like, wait, are you sure you have a bear canister? And then everybody else starts to like panic, like, oh, wait, well, what do I need? Does somebody still have a bear canister for me? Like, and then suddenly, like, it's the same exact conversation, but on the text thread. So I think, here's my prediction.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm not going to wind up with
am I wrong? Isn't that how it went down?
Yes, but I'll explain why I panicked a little bit after your prediction of. Okay. I hope your prediction's like, will Ben wind up with a bear canister?
It's not that. Here's what's weird about this whole scenario is that somebody's going to complain about having to have the bear canisters on the trip because they are annoying to have. But circling back to what I put out there with information earlier on, they're not even required on this trip. You don't have to have one. Like you can have an Ursack. Oh. And then on top of that, I don't even really think you need an Ursack because I don't think there's bears coming into our camp taking our food. That's my prediction.
But
So
but do you have to? But you still have to have the ear sack with you, right? If you get stopped by a
right.
ranger or fake ranger, yeah. So you do have to carry it, even if there's no bears, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have an Ursac. I'm going to use it because
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to use it. But my prediction is like somebody's going to complain about bear canisters,
I'm
and we're
so
not going to have
confused
bears.
right now. This is why I had to send stuff out because Carl's like, you don't really need a bear canister because there's no bears. So they're not even required
No, I
when there's
said
no bears
because
around. Like that's what it sounded like.
no, I said you because you can get away with an Ursac. But even though the
Right. And
Ursacs
then
are required, I still think there's not going to be any bears.
okay. Gotcha. You made it
Yeah,
sound like you don't need the bear. So my rebuttal was I threw out there like, hey, I need a bear canister because I never go where we need bear canisters. So does someone
right.
have one? And then someone, and this was like a month ago, someone's like, yeah, I got 2 or 3 for you. And then everybody's like, I need one and I need one. And I'm like,
Right.
did I just lose mine? Because they all got promised out now. So I don't know if somebody did it, but Carl came to my rescue. He's like, Ben, I got you covered. You're just take mine.
Right.
And it's there. So um
For sure.
and then yeah, do you have another trip prediction or is that
No, that was it. That's all I got.
okay?
Why? What you got now?
Oh, so I was gonna talk about the lunches text that you got. Like you were like you called me and like, hey Ben, this group text is getting absurd. Somebody brought up lunches on the trail already, and we're not even on the trail. And I'm like, Carl, some people want to know like what we're doing with lunches before we get on the trail so we know how to pack the lunches. And that lunch person that asked about it was me. And Carl's like,
That's what it
I
was.
guess it's okay. It makes sense, but someone's
No,
like,
it
I don't
doesn't.
yeah,
We're not
it
even
does.
hiking it. And people are like, well, how many breaks are we going to get? And when are we taking breaks? And what time are we taking breaks? Like, calm down. Eat lunch when you want to eat lunch.
I just need to know, do we stop for lunch or are we hiking through lunch? Because I've been hiking through lunches
It's not
recently.
a
And
race. It's
okay.
not a
Yeah.
race.
So that's what
Yeah.
I did. And the person responded with, Carl likes to take 12 breaks within 10 miles. So
That's
we'll be
not, that's
fine.
incorrect. Incorrect. Our first Patreon trip ever where I didn't know anybody, people were like, it was okay. Granted, it was higher elevation. And a lot of folks were coming from sea level or whatever, but we would take a break and people would get food out. And then apparently that was like not a real lunch break. That was a snack break. So then somebody else would stop farther ahead, let others catch up. And it just ended up being like 3 or 4 pseudo lunch style breaks. And so
Gotcha.
at one point somebody's like, can we just keep going? So yeah,
So that's what I was asking. So do we have a legit like Tupperware Mike respond with our lunch break will happen 2.5 miles in. Yeah, at about or no 5 miles in, but it'll take about 2.5 hours to get there. And I respond with I can do it in 2. So can we stop earlier?
thereby like you're making a joke, but half the people are like, well, that makes sense. Maybe I'll hike with Ben so we can go faster and I can get my lunch faster, like taking it very
Who's this guy?
seriously.
Yeah, I had to respond a couple times like, guys, I'm joking. Don't worry. Like, we're gonna stay together as a group eventually. So yeah, no,
Right.
it's all good. I'm
Right.
excited. This is gonna be a fun trip, Carl. So we'll
It'll be
become best
fun.
friends. Yeah.
I got one last tidbit. I want to start including some of these YouTube reactions. We're starting to get more hits on YouTube. We've been putting out obviously like our podcast on YouTube. It's designed for the audio apps, just to clarify. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we welcome you in the audio apps, but we just appreciate you taking the time. Either way, it doesn't matter. But we've been doing, in addition to that, weekly like satire-based episodes like we've been talking about. And we've been getting some interesting comments and hits on those. And I don't know, like you expressed surprise, Ben, at the theme around some of these comments we're getting because we've had a couple episodes around a particular piece of gear that we thought was silly that apparently everybody loves. So what is that?
Yes. The carabiner. I can't
The
believe people
carabiner.
like like people are commenting on the YouTube, and I had to ask him like, did we talk about the carabiner on this? And you're like, I
I,
don't think we did,
I
but
don't
people
think
are
so. He'll keep
referencing
talking about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And people are referencing it from the controversial gear episode, and they're still talking about it, and they're like, I bring everything, get carabiners all the time, and this,
Right.
and
Right.
so yeah.
Somebody even said, I guess the Z-Packs makes one that's like 0.1 ounces. And I was like, okay, I guess you can spare 0.1 ounces, right? With a
Right.
carabiner.
Like it was just it blew my mind that that was the one gear that is controversial across the board. Like
Right.
people are commenting about how much they love it and have stuff hanging out their backs.
Right. For
I
sure.
I actually thought you were gonna bring up the one comment we got where the guy was eating, or a girl, forget who it was, but it was eating chocolate chip cookies while they were watching us, and I was like,
Oh, that was an
"Dude."
Instagram
Yeah.
post. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I was like, "I want chocolate chip cookies now."
Oh, I don't
So
have their
yeah,
handle in front of me. But yeah, somebody took a picture
yeah.
of themselves watching the YouTube podcast while eating chocolate chip cookies, and I was like, I think the chocolate chip cookies are the better part of that scenario right there. So yeah, that was funny. All right, so yeah, we'll get more specific with it with the reactions, but that's been a lot of fun for us. And Ben, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I'm excited, for the trip. The punishments will be fun. We'll have recaps of the trip, and it's gonna be fun. So I appreciate everybody
Absolutely.
listening and commenting. It's really fun when we see them because you guys, as the listeners, fellow adventurers, as Carl likes to call them.
Right. Right.
It makes it fun when we see you guys like comment. Some of them get us going where it's like, this is hilarious. This comment,
Yeah, there's some funny stuff
because you guys are really making it enjoyable. So we appreciate it.
for sure. And if you want a Derek update, check out our last episode in the tidbit section. We talked about kind of what's been going on with Derek. We got pretty specific, and you can check that out there. But that's all we got this week. Have an exciting adventure out there. God bless everybody.
See ya.
I want to